Welcome to a CRG thing. This is the Sharp MZ-700 personal computer. But what exactly is a Sharp MZ-700 personal computer? Well, this system is based around the Zilog Z80 CPU. There's 64K of RAM and 4K of video memory. Software wise, unlike other 64K machines of the time, there is no language built into the ROM of this machine. Instead, what you would do is load your own language using the tape drive, allowing you to choose between BASIC or C or Pascal or one of many others. But why would we be interested in this old 1982 computer? Well, for what else? We're going to play some games. Don't let that specification fool you though, because this is not exactly a games powerhouse. In fact, of all the machines of the time, the Sharp is probably one of the more wanting, as there's no sprites, no bitmaps, no scrolling, only a fixed character set, and only a single channel square wave sound generator. Despite all this though, there is plenty of imaginative games out there, both old and new, and even a bit of an active demo scene. But as you can see, it's going to be a while before this MZ-700 is doing any of that. The first major issue to notice is keys missing on the keyboard, and plus the general state of the thing, it has yellowed quite considerably, as you can see here with the keys. So just take you around the machine itself quickly. We have the keyboard, the tape drive here, which is a modular item. This machine actually would not have had this fitted from the factory. This would have had just a blank section here, but someone has fitted this afterwards. This is a blank section here that can be removed to fit a plotter, which would be nice to get, but considering how rare these machines are, I think I would struggle to get the plotter. We'll keep our eyes out for one though. Turning to the rear of the machine, we have the inbuilt power supply, which we'll be coming to shortly. Here's a reset switch and a volume control for the inbuilt speaker. Down here is the printer port and expansion bus. This is where the joysticks we plug in, and behind this. Now this system appears to use some sort of proprietary joystick, which I'll have to look into in a bit more detail, as I would like to get one for it. There's write and read inputs for an external cassette deck, which is what we probably will end up using here. We'll probably wind up just playing games through the PC's sound card, plugged directly into these ports. For display, we get our old RF output, there's a composite output, and a nice inclusion RGB. So at some point I hope to make a cable for that too. But for the purpose of today's video, we're going to concentrate over here on the power supply. So what we're going to do is strip this thing down, and we're going to test this power supply to make sure it's putting out the 5 volts that this machine requires. We don't want to be damaging anything further. So let's grab the screwdrivers and get started. Right, so I spent a bit of time here taking all the screws out of this thing. There's 3 along the front here underneath. And then there's the various screws here at the back. So once they're out, these items are just modular and they pull out. I've already disconnected all this, but I'm just showing you how it comes apart. So that white cable there, we plug in down in there. This blank cover just lifts off. This here part is molded into the case, it doesn't come off. There's then additional screws here and over here that need to be taken out. So once you have all them out then, it's just a matter of, you see where the joint is in the case, you just want to push on the bottom section of the case while lifting at the top. That releases these clips on the sides, and do the same on the other side. There we are, and that's it apart. Wow, dusty computer. This old girl definitely does need a lot of love. Here's our Z80 clone CPU. Over here's the ROM. It says Mitsubishi Electric on it. There's various other bits and pieces down here under the keyboard, but that's not really what we're interested in today. All we're interested in is this thing. So we're going to disconnect it here from the board, and we're going to plug in our multimeter to see what it's doing. Back in a minute. Right, so here we are back again. We have that disconnected from the motherboard, and the probes are in there from the multimeter. We've got the meter set to 20 volts DC, which is zeroed out at the minute. We're plugged in, power's on. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Okay, some further investigation is required. Let's turn that off. So I think what we should do next is pull this power supply out. There seems to be 4 screws holding it in, to that side, to that side. So we'll get those out. I'll try and take this apart, and we'll be back again shortly. Right, well here's the power supply stripped down, and I think it's pretty obvious why it's not working. This capacitor here has well and truly fell out with itself. And I've tested this fuse here, and it's also dead. I would imagine that blew when this exploded. This other cap here as well has quite a bad crack up the side of it. So I would expect, if it's not about to wind up looking like this, it's probably not too far off it. Now, thanks to the good people over on the Sharp MZ forums, I've found out that these two are just filter caps. So we're going to crack out the soldering iron and remove these. And according to the guys over in the forums, even without those in place, this power supply should still work fine. So we're going to get those removed now and see what happens. Right, so we've removed the old offending caps. As you can see, this one, there's just nothing left of it. It's just completely destroyed itself. Here's the other one that I think was probably on the verge of blowing up. You can see the big crack down it there. So while these may not be required, I will order new ones anyway, just to have it complete. So we've pulled the old ones out there, cleaned the holes as best I could with a wee bit of desoldering wire, and a wee bit of IPA just to try and give it a bit of a polish up. The rest of the board is absolutely stinking as well. It was covered in flux or something, so we'll maybe give it another good clean when we get the new caps to put in here anyway. So I'm going to get this back together. We'll get it plugged in and we'll test it again with the multimeter before trying to power this thing on. Back again soon. So here we are, the power supply is back in place. We're hooked up to the mains again, and we've got the multimeter connected up to test this. I've replaced the fuse in here, albeit I had to use the wrong rating because it's all I had. There was a 500 milliamp time delay fuse in here originally. All I have, the right size, is a 2 amp fuse. I dare say it would be fine, but we will order the correct fuse anyway. So without further ado, what's this power supply doing? 5 volts. That's what we wanted to see. No more magic smoke, and that's good. Yep, seems to be working okay. So next thing to do, we'll get this plugged into the board again, and we'll run some wires to the screen and see if there's any life in this old machine. Right, so here we are. We've got the power supply hooked up to the motherboard again. We're just using this old stereo cable I had lying around. So we're taking the red from the composite into the back of the TV. And let's see what happens. Beep! Beeps are good! Yay! It works! Excellent! Very happy camper here. Can't believe it works. Just a bad power supply. That is brilliant. I am over the moon with that. Now, let me see. Keyboards. No dear. No! Oh. Some life. Yeah, some of the keys work. So, are we possibly just looking at bad key, or well, dirty keys? What was this side of the keyboard? Yeah, it's all working, well, sort of working over here. Right, So maybe that'll be the next thing we're able to tackle. We'll try and pull this keyboard apart. We'll have a look at these broken keys in a bit more detail, and we'll see if we can fix, I mean, that key there, W, that's doing absolutely nothing. E, no, numbers are working. So I'm hoping that's just dirty keys, just dirty contacts in here. But I think we've done enough for this video for now. We'll have the machine powered up. So until next time guys, thanks very much for watching. I've been Casual Retro Gamer, and I'll see you again soon.